This is actually the feet part 3. Uh, Whenever we talk about opening up a little bit, one of the reasons that people don't want to open up is they believe that it pulls you off of outside pitches or outside corner pitches. What I've found is that quite the opposite is true. Because if you go back and you remember our feet and how they work, is that on a closed stance, this hip collapses. And this hip actually moves this way, our feet move this way. Well, if I'm like this, my bat's out here and I turn, what you can actually see is my bat actually moving in. So by having a closed stance, what we do is we set it up so that our bat head actually moves inward with our hands. Now, what it might do is help you to get your hands in here, maybe to hit an inside pitch, but you're not going to hit it that hard unless you do some adjustments. Now, what happens when we're opened up a tiny bit and this foot actually rolls out is that the backhand is based upon, and the distance is based upon, your relationship with your back hip. So if my hip collapses, my hand moves this way. If my hip opens out this way, I'm here, my bat actually moves out and extends outward. So people that try to say, well, I don't want to pull off the outside pitch. I don't want to have a pitch out here and not be able to reach it or have to do this to reach it. Well, the real cause of having to reach it is having a more closed stance because of the relationship of the hip. I can keep my hands here and actually extend further on an outside pitch by rolling this hip out. Now, how we understand hitting affects that, because someone with a closed stance may actually reach out over this front foot. So they're moving at a 45-degree angle and they're hitting out here. So yes, that does move the bat out, but it doesn't move the bat out any more than opening up your front foot a slight bit. So how we open up our hips affects not only, the way our bat travels, our limits, whether our hands roll properly. It affects the distance that we can reach by an inch or so. And it affects how far we can come in through here and still have both hands extended. If my limits stop me here and I have to pull this hand in, yes, I can still hit a home run. We see major league hitters do it all the time. They get caught up and they get this hand pulled in and they still hit a home run with it. Well, that's great. And I hope that we can learn to adjust to pitches and learn to adjust to hit different pitches, even if we're caught in an awkward situation. But not everyone has that talent. Not everyone has that athletic ability. And if you want to maximize your athletic ability, you want to learn to hit properly and give yourself a chance to get your hips through, to get your arms through, and to hit the ball. Now, one thing I'm not saying is when you open up the front foot slightly, an inch or so, and you go from a closed stance to a neutral stance, and you allow that to open a little bit, that doesn't mean you want to drag your hands. Some people teach as a hands back hitter that your hips fire but your hands stay back. Well, what that does is it puts your hands behind your hips and it puts you in a weaker position, so now you are hitting back here. What I'm talking about is not letting your hips fly first and keeping your hands back. I'm talking about letting your hips here and keeping your hands in this relationship forward of your hip here. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about the timing of the hips and the feet and the hands and how we can hit different pitches. So, Thanks.